Oh, howdy all, grab yourself a drink. It is time for some Path of Exile 2 discussion. Welcome to day 7 of Teaser Season for patch 0.4.0, the Last of the Druids expansion, and the Fate of the Val league content, which is going to be out very, very soon. Today, we have a very quiet day after a couple of very busy ones, so let's go through a couple of changes that were made to the patch notes. These were not announced, they were not put together into one group and announced, so I'll quickly go through those with you. And also, Grindy Gear Games put out one news post today. This is the Last of the Druids item filter information page. Now, this can seem quite intimidating. There's a lot that's listed in here. The thing you need to know about this is probably actually nothing. Unless you're someone who makes community tools or makes filters for a large group of people, you're probably not going to find this information important. Essentially what it's doing is telling you, the player, or more so telling you, the filter designer, what has changed in terms of what loot filters are able to tell apart. For example, because double corrupted items are now something in Path of Exile 2, the game needs to know when a double corrupted item drops on the ground. It may be that it can't drop on the ground normally, but that's something we'll have to find out. You want your loot filter to show some of these esoteric states to start with, and then if it turns out that they're not important, then you can hide them later. But there's a whole bunch of different keywords here. Has Val unique mod, twice corrupted, always show, is Val unique, new updates to keywords like socketable as an item class being renamed to augment. All of this is just of a little bit of interest. Now, guess what? This is also going to mention the names of all of the Druid skills that exist, so you can have a read through these, but there's not very much information about them. Likewise, you can see here what the new support gems are going to be called, and you can probably make a pretty informed guess as to which ones are lineage supports. For example, Thrill of the Kill 2, this does not sound like a lineage support. Javakwa's Rending or Ashin's Oath, they do sound like they are lineage supports. You'll probably get most of those right if you were to take a guess, but that is also something that you can see there. Otherwise, this is just items that will exist and that didn't exist in 0.3.0 or vice versa. After that, there's a couple of little changes to the patch notes. There are only 2 lines that I'm aware of that have changed here, but unlike previous days, they haven't all been grouped together in one spot. One of these is a big buff, one of them is a modest nerf that is actually a double tap on something that was already nerfed in another spot. So let's start with the thing that is getting a buff here, and that is rage lost per second. Now, when I say that's being buffed, that sounds like it's actually increasing the amount of rage loss per second. No, it's the opposite. Rage loss per second is being decreased, which makes characters more powerful. And probably more important, actually, the onset time before you start losing rage, that is also being increased. These changes are significant, and as a result, builds that are built around the rage mechanic, you'll be less inconvenienced by having to travel from pack to pack, or by scenarios where a boss has a phase transition in it. That's going to be less disruptive to your playstyle than it used to be. And as all things must be, there is balance. For every buff like that, there is also a nerf. Those of you who have made Essence of Horror boots in the past, particularly boots, although this applies to gloves as well, you'll find they will not be as good in the future. They will still, however, be extremely strong, and I would expect that there'll be a lot of hot demand for the gloves and boots that are built from these things. They're going to be worse than they were in the past. Existing ones will continue to exist in standard, and if you want to destroy one, and you haven't already destroyed it via the use of a Val Orb, then you can now destroy them through the use of a Divine Orb, if that sounds like something you want to do. So when it comes to news for today, that is actually it. The only other thing that I wanted to quickly mention is that there was something that was a really useful post on the Path of Exile 2 build subreddit. This is an example of a unique item buff that is included in the patch notes that was easily missed, the consequences of it, and that's because it's due to its interaction with another unique item. So, the Anvil. This is getting buffed. This is in the patch notes. 3 to 5% to maximum block chance is being buffed to 5 to 10%, or potentially with a lucky Krangle Divine as high as 12%. The reason I raise this, because this amulet is something people don't like using very much, certainly not in softcore, maybe a little bit in hardcore, but if you want to build really tanky, Sapphire's Frame. I had absolutely forgotten that this item existed because it kind of wasn't very good in the past. Modifiers to maximum block chance instead apply to all 4 maximum resistances. Well, with the Anvil giving so much of this stat, this might actually be something for those of you that want to build super tanky. So a 12% Anvil, which is a lucky Krangle Divine, that, and Sapphire's Frame is going to get all 4 of your maximum resistances up to 87. There's a number of ways that you can take it further from there and potentially get to 90, 90, 90, 90. At that point, you're going to be pretty tanky. So keep in mind, that whilst there are definitely unique items that have received direct buffs, there's a number, like Sappho's Frame, that have gotten indirect buffs in these patch notes as well. Lastly, in about an hour and a quarter after I'm recording, editing, and uploading this, I'm going to be appearing on Talkative Tries podcast. I'll put a link to that down in the description below. Anyways, that's it. Really short video today. May your Varlobs have interesting results.